The December wipe added 40 new ammo types, a limb penetration system, and adjusted pen and damage values across the board. This means that almost every assumption we have about survivability and time to kill needs to be reevaluated from the ground up. To get a clear picture, I loaded my bag with a weapon of each caliber and spent over 12 hours in the shooting range retesting ammo performance across Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5, and Tier 6 armor. I recorded the number of shots to kill for headshots, chest shots that pass through the arms, and leg shots. With this data, I'm able to calculate the best possible time to kill for each using the highest rate of fire in the weapon caliber. The goal was not to find edge cases or best case scenarios with lucky pens, but to model what actually happens in raids. So in my testing, when the number of shots to kill fluctuated between two values, I chose the higher one because I would rather my ammo perform better than I expected than worse. By the end of this process, the dataset consisted of over 1,200 individual tests, allowing patterns to emerge that simply weren't visible last wipe. Some caveats from this testing are this is a controlled environment and may not accurately reflect what is happening in game. This is also a CQB scenario and might not accurately reflect what's happening at long range. But I believe this information is helpful in comparing ammos to each other and to previous wipes. We'll take a look at the results from the test, then talk about what it means. I'll show the results for each caliber quickly on the screen if you'd like to take screenshots. The full chart will be available for download in the description. Here are the results for 9mm. 9x39, 45, 545, 556, 6.8, 762x39, 762x51, 762x54, 12 gauge. So what do all these numbers tell us? One of the most striking results comes from helmet performance, specifically the gap between Tier 4 and Tier 5 protection. Last wipe this difference existed, but it was marginal. Ammo with Tier 4 pen that could reliably one-shot a Tier 4 helmet would typically break through a Tier 5 helmet in around 3 shots. This wipe, the same Tier 4 pen ammo that will still one-shot a Tier 4 helmet now takes 5 to 6 shots to defeat a Tier 5 helmet. This is a huge boost to survivability. The effect is compounded by ammo availability, with Tier 5 pen ammo not being buyable this wipe, which sharply reduces how often players will encounter it in actual matches. As a result, Tier 5 helmets are now disproportionately powerful relative to the threats most players are realistically facing. That leads directly into one of the more controversial implications of this data, the impact of DLC. The October Omen DLC allows players to purchase a full-face Tier 5 helmet from level 3 max, while non-paying players are limited to Tier 4 helmets. Given the survivability gap revealed by the testing, this difference is no longer cosmetic or marginal, it's a huge increase in survivability. When Tier 4 pen ammo goes from being a reliable one-tap to requiring half a dozen shots to break through a helmet, access to Tier 5 protection, and therefore the DLC becomes a significant advantage. Starter ammo access further amplifies this disparity, with Johnny DLC players receiving several hundred rounds of 318 and PP early in the wipe, both of which outperform the M856 and 545T ammo that non-paying players typically start with. In isolation, the difference between these rounds might seem manageable, but when combined with the new armor and limb pen, it creates a noticeable advantage in early combat consistency and time to kill. Taken together, these factors shift the balance of early and mid-wipe encounters towards players with DLC access far more than last wipe. The data doesn't suggest that non-paying players can't compete, but it does show that the margin for error is smaller. Another major change revealed by the testing comes from the limb penetration mechanics. Arms have always been a factor in ExfilZone, but now we can test for them. In previous wipes, arms would stop rounds, preventing them from passing through. This could turn a 2-hit kill to the chest into 8 or more. Now limbs have a protection value of 2, and if your ammo's penetration value is high enough, it will pass through the limb into the chest. This should make killing nakeds far easier. The limb protection value can also stack with armor, meaning if you have high enough pen ammo, it can pass through the limb and the chest armor. This also means that you can now collab players. Ammo at Tier 3 or above can pen through the arm armor on Tier 5 and 6 rigs. In some cases, this results in a faster time to kill when hitting the arms than when aiming directly at the chest. This runs counter instinct to many players, but the data shows that the arm hits are no longer strictly a disadvantage depending on your ammo choice. This brings us to one of the most important findings of the entire test. The chest through arm performance is wildly inconsistent across ammunition types, but it makes sense. Some rounds that perform extremely well in direct chest shots underperform when forced to pass through the arms. In other cases, ammo that appears weaker on paper retains most of its lethality after the limb interaction. This makes sense though. Ammo with high pen typically has low damage, and ammo with low pen typically has high damage. So some rounds overperform when hitting the arms simply because of their damage value, and some rounds underperform because they just don't have the damage to keep up. This helps explain a common frustration many players experience, where they land what feels like a clean burst into an opponent only to watch them survive far longer than expected. In many of these cases, the issue is not missed shots or hit registration, but that ammo loses effectiveness when interacting with the arms and armor layered underneath. Understanding this distinction is critical because it changes how you interpret fights and how you select ammo for consistent results rather than the theoretical damage output. The Flame might make a comeback this wipe. The data strongly suggests that shotguns are significantly more viable than last wipe using leg meta. Did we need 5 new shotgun ammos? No, but it seems like all of them are effective against legs. Some of them can even 2-shot legs, meaning in close range engagements, especially against heavily armored players, aiming low might now be the most reliable way to secure a kill quickly. Something else to look out for is with all the new ammo types, many rounds now look similar at a glance, and it's increasingly easy to mistake one ammo type for another. I've been disappointed multiple times when I see rounds in an ammo box with a black tip and they turn out to be flush rounds. I've also looted mags off a player and thought they were filled with 318. Turns out it was HP and I died trying to spray down somebody with a Ronin. So as these mechanics come together, they also change how different categories of players need to think about risk and engagement, particularly once gear levels start to diverge across the player base. For more experienced and well-equipped players, one of the immediate consequences of this wipe is that reliably one-tapping other kitted players has become far more difficult. Ammo capable of consistently one-tapping high-tier armor is both rarer and riskier to run. High-pen ammo, or any ammo for that matter, can't be brought in a safe container, which means that every raid where you bring it, you are fully committing to that resource. The result is a strategic trade-off that didn't exist to the same degree last wipe. You can choose to run safer, more common ammo and accept longer engagements against geared opponents, or you can risk expensive and possibly irreplaceable ammo to maintain the ability to quickly neutralize other kitted players. It's not just an obvious default anymore. For newer or undergeared players, the data reinforces a different lesson. Head and chest engagements against heavily armored opponents are often unrealistic when using low-pen ammo. In testing, certain armor setups were able to absorb 3 or 4 full mags of weak ammo without going down. However, those same opponents could be eliminated in half a mag or less by shifting your aim to the legs. This is not a matter of imbalance as much as adaptation. Your aiming strategy can compensate for gear gaps, allowing players without access to top-tier ammos to still secure kills reliably if they choose their target intelligently. Players running mid-tier ammo sit in a more ambiguous position, which makes preparation especially important. Many of these rounds perform well up to a certain point and then fall off sharply. What matters is knowing where that drop-off occurs before your raid begins. You should have a clear mental model of what armor tiers you can confidently engage through the head or the chest, and which tiers require an immediate shift to the legs to maintain an acceptable time to kill. Treating this as a pre-raid decision rather than an in-fight realization leads to faster and more consistent outcomes under pressure. So visual identification of armor plays an important supporting role here. Highly visible gear such as the pumpkin kit or Alton helmets provide immediate information about what you're dealing with. And when you can recognize armor tiers at a glance, you can adjust targeting instinctively instead of wasting the opening seconds of a fight on ineffective shots. Across all experience levels, the pattern is the same. Preparation combined with recognition leads to fewer wasted shots, faster kills, and a much clearer understanding of why an engagement unfolds the way it does. When you put all of it together, the larger takeaway from this wipe is not just the numbers that have changed, but that decision making matters more than it did before. Gear priority is no longer simply about buying the highest tier available, but understanding where major survivability breakpoints exist, especially around tier 5 helmets and high tier armor. This means that you'll survive more if you risk that one Alton in your hideout instead of buying Ronins over and over again. Ammo selection follows the same logic. What matters is not only the pen on paper, but how the ammo behaves once the arms are introduced. Where you aim also has to become more deliberate. Head and chest shots are still effective within the limits of your ammo, but legs are not a fallback option. They are often the correct choice, especially when fighting players whose armor significantly outclasses your ammo pen. Knowing when to switch from head to legs is the difference between emptying mags and ending fights quickly. More than anything, this wipe rewards players who enter raids with a plan, knowing what you can realistically kill, what you need to avoid, and where to aim based on the visual cues that you see. These three things will turn uncertainty into a controlled risk. This testing helps explain not only what works, but why certain fights feel unwinnable until you change your approach. I'll continue breaking down ammo, armor, and weapon interactions as the wipe progresses, focusing on practical insights backed by testing like this. If you feel like this kind of analysis helps you make more informed decisions in raid, consider subscribing for future breakdowns.